Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes,
Okay, I will make the presentation. Let us see. People are joining still. Okay. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm making the slideshow at the beginning. Okay. People are joining, that is the problem. Every time people join, there is a problem. Okay, we'll start. We will not allow anybody more. Start with the Indian Contract Act 1872 established. As you can see, these things we have already covered. Then come to the type of the contract. Okay, void and voidable contracts. Two types of contracts. Void. There are two types of voids. Void means a contract which cannot be enforced by law. It's not illegal. It's void. It cannot be enforced by law. That becomes void. So any contract which ceases to be enforceable by law is called void. Okay. And one is a void, another is a void ab initio. Void ab initio means from the very beginning. Ab initio meaning is very beginning. So from the very beginning, the contract becomes void. But this is a contract. There are certain contracts which were good. Later on, it became void. So contracts which were good and became void, that is different. Contracts which are void from the beginning, like a contract with a minor is void from the beginning. So that contract is different. This contract is different. But however, we call it as a void. Either it is void or void ab initio. Section 2J. Voidable contracts are good contracts. They are enforceable at law unless and until the aggrieved party complains about this contract. There are certain contracts which are entered into, they are voidable in nature, but unless and until the other party complains, then only it becomes void. Otherwise, it is not void, it is valid and it can be fulfilled. It can be taken up. Then the nature and validity. A void contract is valid, binding upon the parties when entered into, but subsequently of its formation, it becomes unenforceable due to certain reasons, as I say. So void contracts, some contracts, as I say, is void ab initio. From the very beginning, it is void. Contract with minor is void. So ab initio. But there are certain contracts which are entered into, but later on, because of some reasons, they become void. But voidable contracts are from the very beginning, they are voidable. The nature is voidable in nature. It's not like initially it is a general contract that it becomes voidable, then no, not like that. So it is a normal contract, good contract, but that is voidable because of the way it has been taken up. So the party complains, okay, somebody threatens somebody to sign a contract. It's voidable in nature, it's not void. Provided the other party says that, okay, he has threatened and under pressure I have signed the contract. So it becomes void. So initially it was voidable, then it becomes void. Then a valid contract may be void due to supervening impossibility, subsequent impossibility, change of law, or some other various reasons are on certain event. So various reasons are there. The event for which the contract has been signed, the event could not happen. Okay, there was a show which was organized and the show could not happen. The contract becomes void because of different problems. So if it is not possible, so it becomes void later on. But there are contracts which are voidable, like coercion, undue influence, error, fraud, misrepresentation. These are the contracts which are good contracts, but later on they becomes void because the nature of the contract is voidable. And any contract which becomes void, it cannot be enforced by either party, but voidable contract can be enforced by at the option of the other party. And in a void contract, the contract, as I say, is either void from the beginning. In the latter stage, it may become void. And in a void contract, there is no such remedy available. But in a voidable contract, remedies are available. Aggrieved party has got, if he makes it void, then automatically some remedies are available. Like suppose you have given some advance, so it is automatically you can get it back, because the contract has been entered into in good faith, and contract has been entered into as a good contract, not as a void contract. So under a void contract, the question of compensation damage does not arise, whereas in case of voidable contract, question of compensation arises. Some compensation you may have to pay if it is proved. Then lapse of reasonable time does not render the contract void. Lapse of reasonable time does not render a void contract enforceable. It cannot be by lapse of reasonable time. No, it cannot be. But a voidable contract can be done. It can be done. Okay. So if a voidable contract is not rescinded or cancelled by aggrieved party within a reasonable time period, it becomes enforceable by law. So any contract which is voidable in nature, if it is not cancelled within the time period specified, reasonable time period, then it becomes a good contract. Later on, it cannot be done. So today we'll see some additional things like offer and acceptance, which is the first chapter. Offer is a medium through which people express their intention to enter into a contractual obligation against a promise or an act of forbearance. Let us see the definition as it is given. When one person signifies to another person, there are two people at least, his willingness to do or to abstain from doing. Either he is willing to do something for you or he is not going to do something for you. Both way, positive and negative. Willing to do something for you, or if you say, okay, if you do not do, I will pay you such money or this much of amount, it becomes a contract also. So both the way it is contract. Anything. So that has not been defined. What? Anything. With a view to obtaining the assent. So why you are doing it? You have to get a assent. The promise you have to get from that other to such an act of abstinence. So from other person you have to get an assent, a positive consent, that may be for doing the act or for abstinence. He is said to have a proposal. So finally it becomes a proposal. Section 2A. So last time we discussed about the proposals. So proposals are like this. So first thing, there must be at least two people, and one person is doing or abstaining from doing on behalf of the other person or for another person, for which he is going to pay some consideration, some money or something. In return, something he is going to do for not doing or doing the work. That becomes an offer. The basic properties of offer, that to do or not to do something. That something is not defined anything, either to do or not to do. So that two things are there, positive and negative. Thus an offer may involve a positive act or a forbearance, negative act. Presence of the second party, an offer by the person to himself, will be null and void. So you cannot sell to yourself. So there must be a second party. Without that, it is not possible. Third, intention of obtaining a response. It is made with an intention that the other person accept it. Mere expression or willingness will constitute no offer. Okay, is that clear? All of you?
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, the slide from where you are reading is not visible.
Okay, slide is not visible. That is why I was asking. Because sometimes what happens, slides are not visible. You are correct. Just a minute. From accounts you get it how much money you have. Okay, clear. So let me make again the presentation. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. But the previous slides are
Okay, I'm going.
not visible.
I'm going to that. I will go back. Don't worry. Void and voidable. I will send you the slides. Don't worry about the slides.
Okay, sir.
So we discussed about the offer. What is an offer? We discussed under section 2A. So there are three propositions, three properties of an offer. Let me again repeat: to do or not to do. Second, there must be two parties. Third, they must obtain the response from the other party. The other party must be willing and must accept the offer. Without acceptance, there is no contract. He must be willing to what this party wants. So I will do this, you pay me this much. Both the party must be willing to that. If one party is not willing, then automatically it is not amounting to any kind of contract. So mere expression of willingness will not constitute offer. So only saying that okay, but you have to make an offer. The proposal you have to put before this. So characteristics of a valid offer must intend to create and be capable of creating legal obligation. Second, its terms must be certain, clear-cut terms. So whenever anybody is making an offer, it must be in clear-cut terms. So intention must be very clear. Intention to create a legal relationship has to be there. Second, the terms and conditions of the contract or offer must be very clear. And third, must be made to obtain the assent from the other party. The offer is made. So there are different types of offer. We will come to that. So offer can be made to individuals, offer can be made to the group of individuals, offer can be made to public at large. So that is why must be made to obtain the assent of the other party. And it must be communicated. Offer which is not communicated is not an offer. I want to sell my vehicle, I do not communicate to anybody. I simply think of selling my vehicle. Or I tell people that okay, I am thinking of selling my vehicle. That is not an offer. So when I say to some of my friends, to other people, that I want to sell my vehicle, but I am not making an offer. So when I want to make an offer, the terms and conditions must be very certain and it must be made or should focus on one party. So the other party should be there, either individual, group of individuals or public at large. An offer can be conditional and it must be distinguished from a query. So query is different. Query is you are inquiring about something. You are not giving an offer. Suppose I say at what rate my vehicle can be sold. I am asking. So when I make a query, okay, I have got this vehicle and manufacturing date is this, vehicle is this. So what should be the rate I will be getting if I sell the vehicle? I make a query on that. I am not making an offer to sell. Simply giving you're telling your intention, okay, I want to sell, that is not the offer. Offer means you must categorically say to somebody, I want to sell my vehicle to you. Suppose I say I want to sell my particular thing to section A. So section B cannot do that. I am not intended to have any kind of contractual relationship with section B. I am only considering section A person. Suppose section B people come to know about it and they say, okay, we want to purchase. No, I am not willing because I have not made my offer to you. So offer must be communicated to offeree. There are two people, offerer and offeree. So offer must be communicated to offeree. So my intended person must know about it. So I want to sell to Mr. X. Why he comes to know about it? Why he is interested to purchase? No, he cannot unless and until I agree. So why give me a proposal? I want to purchase. I will say no. I may sell, I may not sell. It is up to me. So that is why offer must be communicated to offeree. And offeree can be single individual, number of individuals, or group of individuals, or public at large. Farm offer versus invitation to treat. Examples of invitation to treat. Auction. So when we go for the auctions, display of goods for sale in the shelf. Okay. So when you go to any shopping mall, you find there are display of goods in the shelf. Okay. These are all invitation to offer. These are not offers. An invitation for tenders. In the newspaper, tenders come. Quotations, tenders come. Red herring prospectus. When company, they want to issue shares, they go for red herring prospectus. Where there is a bidding, then company must agree. General advertisement of the goods. When there is a general advertisement of the goods. In the newspaper, every time you find general advertisement of the goods. Different goods are being shown in the advertisement and people try to find out, then you have to make an offer. That is not an offer. It is an invitation so that to the public to make an offer. But suppose a vehicle is coming from, say, let us say from one place to another place, or it is coming from Master Canteen to some hospital, it is coming here. The bus, it is written, it is going to some hospital. So whosoever is entering the particular bus has to, and traveling in the bus has to pay for the traveling. They have to pay the fare. So bus fare you have to pay once you travel. You cannot say that no. It is not. So once you enter, it is an implied offer. So here the offer is open. Once you enter the bus and travel, you accept the offer. There is a contract. So invitation can be made to public at large also. So boss is making an invitation. Okay, you come and join. That is there. So they are saying that, okay, we are offering services. If you accept this, then you have to pay. If you don't accept, don't travel in the bus. Okay, that is there. So the termination of offer can be terminated or cancelled at any time before it is accepted. The offer can be terminated any time before it is accepted. That is revocation, withdrawal, cancellation. Before the offeree accepts it. So offerees are known. So before the offer is accepted, the offeror can cancel it. I want to sell my vehicle to Mr. X. Before X accept it, before X says, yes, I am willing to purchase on this date, I am willing to pay that money, then it becomes a contract. So that is why before it is accepted, I can withdraw. I can cancel my things. Suppose somebody else is offering me a better price. Okay, I will purchase at a higher rate. Okay, no problem. I will sell it to you. I cancel that offer. Sometimes the time period is given. Within the time period, if you do not, then cancellation is over. You cannot cancel the offer. So time period is given, but sometimes, not always. And sometimes the offer becomes conditional. Once the condition is fulfilled, then only it will be accepted. If the condition is not fulfilled, it cannot. So conditional offers, the condition has to be fulfilled before it is accepted. Suppose I say, my vehicle is having little problem, you repair the vehicle, then only I will sell it to you. So unless and until the repair work is conducted, I cannot sell the vehicle, or I am not going to sell the vehicle to that person. If he is not conducting, I can cancel it. So that is the thing. Then failure to fulfill the conditions that is given. And third, death or insanity of either party, either offerer or offeree, they become, or they died or become insane. Then refusal or counter offer. Refuser or counter offer. Somebody refused or make a counter offer. Counter offer means I want to sell my vehicle for say 1 lakh rupees. You say no. If you sell for 90,000, I will purchase. That becomes a counter offer. Bargaining. So many cases people go for bargaining. And in that case, it becomes a counter offer. So counter offer means bargaining. So when there is a bargaining, it is a counter offer. Then I have to say yes or no. If I say no, then again another bargaining, 95,000. Okay, agreed. So finalized. So that is why every time there is a bargaining, offeror makes something, offeree makes something, then offeror makes something, like that, it is a counter offer. So you may get a question, what is a counter offer? Then acceptance differs from prescribed one. So if the acceptance is given, there is a mode of acceptance. So when the offeror is selling something, there is a mode of acceptance. So the mode of acceptance has to be followed. Suppose I say you have to accept by email. So you have to accept by email, otherwise it is not acceptable. So many cases they say that, okay, you have to accept in a particular mode. The mode has been prescribed. So that prescribed mode has to be followed. If you do not follow the prescribed mode, automatically the acceptance is not considered as an acceptance, because the condition at the time of giving the offer, that acceptance has to be in that particular mode. It has to be done by email, it has to be done by telephone, or it has to be done by, say, WhatsApp. So these things are acceptable modes now. And subsequent illegality or destruction of the subject matter. If subsequently something happens to the subject matter, that is the item which is to be sold or which is to be given, subject matter. So in case of any illegality in the subject matter, automatically it is terminated. Offer is terminated. And because of destruction of the subject matter, it is also terminated. So if the thing is not available, suppose something has to come by ship and the ship drowned in the sea, so the subject matter is destroyed. I cannot get the thing. The ship is not coming, so it is destroyed. So any illegality makes the contract void, or any kind of destruction of the subject matter makes the contract void, offer is terminated. Then come to acceptance. An acceptance is a manifestation of assent to the terms of the offer. So whenever there are terms, any offer, you purchase anything, there are terms and conditions. So whenever you go for any kind of purchase, you have got terms and conditions. Those terms and conditions mostly we do not read, but there are terms and conditions which you are supposed to read. And these terms and conditions are to be accepted. Because at the time of acceptance, you cannot negotiate for the terms and conditions. Whatever terms and conditions given, that is to be followed. So when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. So the person, like a proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. So there is offer, there is acceptance, then it becomes a promise. Section 2B. So every time there is a proposal and that proposal is accepted, or there is an offer which is accepted, that becomes a promise and that becomes a contract. So acceptance to an offer is what a lighted matchstick to a train of gunpowder. It is given by a famous lawyer. It is given, George. So when something is accepted and after that the offer cannot be cancelled. If you cancel, then you have to pay penalty. That is why it is said it is just like a lighted matchstick to a train of gunpowder. If you throw a lighted matchstick to a train of gunpowder, it will burst. You cannot stop it. So that is how it happens. So once you say that, okay, I have accepted, then offer is over. Offer is over and acceptance is to be taken. It is granted and contract is formed. Thus, an offer becomes irrevocable upon its acceptance. So when acceptance is being done, then it becomes irrevocable. It cannot be revoked or cancelled. Then rules governing the valid acceptance. So what are the rules which are controlling the valid acceptance? It must be made by the offeree, because acceptance cannot be made by other people. It has to be made by the person to whom it has been done. So all acceptance are to be done through this. And acceptance is unconditional. You cannot put any condition. Offer can be conditional, but acceptance is unconditional. Then it must be communicated to the offerer. So as I mentioned in the earlier one, offerer has to communicate with the offeree regarding the offer. And same thing happens when acceptance is there. The person who is accepting offeree, he has to communicate to the offerer that I have accepted. And maybe in any form, oral or written. But however, the mode of acceptance that is prescribed by the offerer, if at all it is given, it should be. So if it is an online mode, then you have to follow online mode. Offline mode, you have to follow offline mode. Otherwise, it is not acceptance. So mode of acceptance has to be followed. And it may be oral or written. Suppose you give, there is no mode of acceptance, only you have to give acceptance. So either orally, you can give acceptance, or in writing, you can give acceptance. And acceptance must be given within the reasonable time period if there is no time period set. Suppose I do not set any time period for selling my vehicle. I say, okay, I want to sell and sell to you. So rate is finalized, but time period is not fixed. So automatically it becomes a reasonable time period. And what is a reasonable time period? It varies from case to case, goods to goods. Like a perishable goods, reasonable time period may be 1 day. Reasonable time period may be 1 month. However, there is a time period which has to be followed. If there is no time period mentioned in the contract or at the time of making the offer. And it must be given while the offer is in force. So you have to give it when the offer is in force. Once the offer is gone, then you cannot. Like in Amazon offer or in Flipkart offer, what happens? During the time period, you are accepting. So when you want to purchase, during the time period, you have to purchase. After the time period is over, just 1 minute after also, you cannot. So that is why once the time period is over, offer is over. Because of the time period. So as long as it is in force, you can accept it. Once it is gone, it is gone. Okay. Any question from your side?
No, sir.
Okay. So that is why just let me gist it out. A contract, as you learn, you may get a question like, what is a contract? So contract is defined. There must be two parties in a contract, and there must be an offer. There must be a valid acceptance. So valid offer and valid acceptance These are the two essential elements that you have to take care. If offer is not valid or acceptance is not valid, then automatically the contract cannot be formed. And for valid offer, I have given the regions, the characteristics of the offer it is given, and these characteristics are there. That means to create a legal relationship, second, that if the terms of the offer must be certain. Third, the consent of the other party, means the offeree has to be there. It must be communicated, offer must be communicated to offeree, and it may be conditional, and it should be distinguished from query. So invitation to offer, you may get a question, what is an invitation to offer? So invitation to offer means you are invited to make offer, and once you make the offer, then automatically other party will accept. So invitation to offer must be distinguished from offer itself. All right. All advertisements are invitation to offer. Then termination of the offer can be terminated at any time before it is accepted. That is, or because of the death or insanity, because of the refusal or counter offer. So these are the conditions which are there, and due to this reason or supervening impossibility, destruction of the subject matter, all these are there, and because of that offer is cancelled. So acceptance, then what are the rules of acceptance? It must be made by offeree. Offeree has to accept. It should be unconditional. It should be communicated to the offerer, and mode of acceptance has to be followed, and it should be done within a reasonable time period. Okay, so I will send this slide to you, all of you. I have completed this offer and acceptance. Void and voidable contract, you may get a question. What is the difference between void and voidable contract? Okay. So when you look at the different types of contract, let me again, it was not followed. We will discuss it again in detail, again one by one will come. But however, we consider the valid contracts, then voidable contracts and void contracts. Three types of contracts. Contracts which the terms and conditions are very clear, that becomes a valid contract. Contract where the things, either it is a good contract, later on it becomes void, or it becomes void from the very beginning, like contract with minor. Then voidable contracts are good contracts, and they are entered into. They may be taking the shape of performance, or they may not be performed. So it depends on the aggrieved party, the party who is going to suffer the loss. If he complains, then it becomes void. If he does not complain, fulfills, then automatically it is a good contract. Unenforceable contracts are illegal contracts. Illegal contracts, actually illegal, they do not call it as illegal contracts, but it becomes illegal agreements. Because once the contract becomes illegal, it is no more contract, it is an agreement. Unenforceable contract, there are, because of certain reasons, it is not enforceable. Means it cannot be performed. Suppose we have to conduct a show, because the show is cancelled, and automatically we cannot conduct the show because it has been cancelled by the other party. Suppose a singer has to come from Mumbai, he was identified with COVID, so he cannot come. So automatically it becomes difficult. So we have to cancel it. So unenforceable contract, it cannot be enforced. Then illegal contracts, because of certain reasons, it become illegal, and the contract is no more. So it is cancelled. Executed contract, yes, it is good. Executed contracts where it has already been partially being done. Executed means it will be, we will be doing it in future. Executed contracts which has already been performed. Either a part of the promise has been performed, like I have given advance, or full advance I have given, I have to get the supply of goods. Or part advance I have given, I will get supply of goods. Once I get supply of goods, I will pay the full amount. Executory, I will pay you in future and you will supply me in future. Express contracts and implied contracts. Implied contracts, as I say, that when you enter a bus, that becomes an implied contract, that you are signing a contract, implied by your conduct. So implied contracts, bus is running, bus is when you enter into contract, you have accepted that, they have made an offer, you have accepted, and you have to pay the fare. Express contracts, you have to express either orally or in writing regarding this. Unilateral contracts and bilateral contracts. Unilateral contracts are single, one person, that is not. But bilateral contracts, both the parties are interested to enter into contract. Quasi contracts are not full-fledged contracts. They are called contracts, but they are not full-fledged contracts. they are half. Quasi means half. They are partial contracts, and by the act of the law, they are considered as contracts. Suppose I go to your place, it was raining, I took my umbrella, and by mistake, when I came out, it was not raining. It was not raining, so I forgot to bring the umbrella. So automatically, a contractual relationship comes, and you have to take care of my umbrella and hand over the umbrella to me. So that becomes a quasi contract. So quasi contract like lost and found. So anybody getting some goods or some keys or something which was lost and somebody found. So it becomes the duty of the person to hand over to the original owner, and there becomes a quasi contract. So these are the different types of contracts. Okay. Any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I have got the class, so we'll continue as per the schedule. Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
sir.
will send this slide. I will send this slide. Other slide I have already sent. This one also I will send it to you.